things work. So we'll see if that's where FlyQuest want to target, pick on the sub in Nukeduck.
Yeah, Milio is open, but FlyQuest wanted to prioritize a strong marksman for Prince. Aphelios is going to get locked in. 100 Thieves can now look for a trade. We've seen a lot of Lucian Milio, but we haven't seen Draven Milio yet. I don't know if that would be something that DoubleLift is feeling up for, or if they're going to look for a different focus in this opening round.
Yeah, he hasn't classically been a Draven player. And so they do lock in the Ahri first here for Nukeduck. Very versatile champion. It was one of his most played when he was a current player as well. And I guess they'll leave that AD carry pick for later. You need to get the Milio now, though. So good. Being able to bring that cleanse for the squad, very, very strong towards the mid stages.
No surprise to see Yuumi snatched up by FlyQuest on the opposite side, continuing to prop up Prince. This will be the first bot lane that we're going to see on stage for Prince and Vulcan tagging up together. Unfortunately, Vulcan will be literally attached to him for most of this game. Not quite the playmaking that I was hoping to see out of Vulcan, which was something that I think FlyQuest sometimes lacked in the early game last split. They had insane late game carry potential with Prince, but sometimes their early games fell a little flat. Will not be Vulcan running around the map this time, though.
Yeah, I think that just means it's going to be up to Spica and Vicla to take the reins of looking for those openings in the mid game once they start grouping up. That was a big thing that we wanted to see improve from FlyQuest going into the summer split, is making sure that Spica and Vicla are on the same page and playing through together. Meanwhile, 100 Thieves, it's Lucian for DoubleLift.
Talk about classic DoubleLift champions.
Yes,
there
sir.
we go. The pocket pick back in action. And Lucian was one of the first pairings that people jumped on with Milio, being able to buff him up for the extra range with the extra burst on your damage there. So a lot of very, very potent trades from that combination. We'll see about the Ksante, whether it goes to Vicla or whether it actually does go to Impact on top side. Currently, we're still banning top laners for both of them.
Yeah, it makes sense. Impact versus Someday is one of the staple matchups in the LCS. We've seen it for years now. There's always debate about which of the two is better. They've gone back and forth, so we're up for another round of it this split, it feels like, and back on 100 Thieves for Someday. We're talking about the retirement or the Hall of Fame ceremony that happened for him. It feels like back to normal, though. Like, Someday has always been in red, basically, since he left Dignitas, like, way back in 2017, I think that was. But he's been such a mainstay of 100 Thieves. It's good to see him back in it. And there's someone we're not going to acknowledge.
All right, with the Gragas ban, maybe some possibilities of Jax floating around. Always rises a little bit when that counter is off the table here. 100 Thieves will have to show first. So jungle, I expect. See what we can grab here.
Wukong for closer?
Yeah.
Maybe? I think that's one of the highest presence champions you've seen in the jungle role so far worldwide. There's been a lot of Viego, a lot of Wukong, a lot of Vi, but with Vi and Viego gone, makes sense. Obvious pick the closer there.
He's got his priorities right.
Yes, finally. We get some Maokai.
Ooh,
Spica back on Maokai duty.
and he's solo AP on this team, so he can go for the more first strike demonic embrace. But I know, and I also agree with you, Kobe, that he can go for the more tankier route, even Shroud, Abyssal, Sunfire, and you're still
Sub
doing
to Cadro.
Pog, let's go, man. 100 Thieves now locking in their top laner match against this Ksante, and it's the classic Renekton for Someday. Well, 100 Thieves, decent range with the Lucian and the Ahri, have playmaking potential with the Cyclone. You want to look through duo mid and jungle for the mid game, whereas FlyQuest, you have a lot of team fighting power.
Definitely, it feels like a small scaling advantage in FlyQuest's favor with obviously Aphelios, Yuumi coming in, the Maokai, all this front line that you're going to have to play around it. And it does feel like they'll put pressure on 100 Thieves to try and make some plays around the bot lane. Maybe, you know, early on you go to Nukeduck's lane with the charm, the setup that closer can use, but then eventually moving that down bot lane. I would expect that to be kind of 100 Thieves game plan here against FlyQuest. Someday back on the Renekton with some of the buffs that came in the most recent patch.
Yeah. And as you're saying, this is Someday's champion. This is the classic Someday. Even back to KT Rolster days, this is his most played champion of all time for his whole career. So he is ready to use those buffs.
You know, for 100 Thieves, they're, for the most part, rolling back a lot.
Pretty strong before losing some series in playoffs, and a lot of people want to say, hey, now with Someday coming back, eventually Quid when he joins, but even with Nukeduck, that people have a lot of high hopes for this team, and it's a very difficult test to start the split.
Yeah, it's funny, the two most hyped offseason moves for both of these teams are kind of not on display right now. Quid is not here, literally, and then Vulcan has to be on Yuumi, who's just kind of not here, or at least not having to fully control your own champion.
What are you trying to say about Yuumi?
Well, they intentionally remove some of the more skill expressive things from her kit with that mini rework where you're just like, you got to bop on and off and hit him with the auto attack, and they're like, nah, just stay plastered on Prince and let him carry you.
And Vulcan's got to build up that best friend mechanic, both not only in-game, but also IRL, because, I mean, this is now a new AD carry that he's working with. So, got to make sure that the synergy is strong on both aspects.
And I will also say, Spica, my boy, my hopes for the tank support item Maokai are very well alive because he's got Aftershock, baby.
Not the first strike demonic like Raaffaa was hoping for.
I wasn't hoping for that. I was just saying, like, hey, that could be the angle. I'm definitely in the camp of even Shroud full tank Maokai. That is Pog. And Spica steals the chickens away from Closer. Gonna be a sad monkey as he walks back onto the bottom side of the map. Him and Impact are doing some major damage right now. Someday and Impact are just walking back, but while trading blows, and it's a delayed laning phase for the top laners.
Yeah, and Someday here getting back into experience range first. Even though Impact's jungler won the jungle fight, Someday's got his rage bar that was almost fully stacked up. He re-gets it to 50% here to Empower, and Impact finally will get right back in, but some nice little things for the Crocodile so far.
Yeah, it felt good for FlyQuest though to get that little invade off, get 2 onto Spica, and also shove Closer out of topside completely, so Spica can go ahead and grab that red buff and make his way back across the map, cutting through mid lane where Vicla has pressure as well to try and get back onto his own red buff to make sure that Closer only really has one quadrant of the jungle to clear before he's forced to try and start looking at lanes or something like that.
And it definitely should be topside priority for him to work off as well once he bounces on back there. Renekton got the early level 2, should be able to shove on in towards the Ksante. Maybe they can get some deeper vision down there towards the jungle too. Busio here, though, does get chased into the alcove, and he'll be fine.
This does prevent Closer from being able to affect bot lane, because Spica trying to match the pathing that Closer has ensures that he is protecting bot lane from getting dove or being set up by DoubleLift and Busio to snowball even further. Closer was trying to see if he could find Spica on the red buff on this timer, but he was doing Krugs instead, and Closer's going to look elsewhere as he crosses the map.
Yeah, that ward doing a lot of work here. Heavy lifting for FlyQuest, because Spica, that's why he threw the sapling into the red brush. That's why he went to Krugs instead. Nice use of information here by the tree, and he's still going to get a nice little bump.
It's also nice for Spica because he already has red buff. There's no rush for him to grab his red buff right away and open up that kind of steal that Closer was looking for. He just went onto Krugs very happily, and now he's just trying to contest everything.
Bot lane diff means everything for these Scuttle Crab fights, though, so...
Closer is going to take the Scuttle Crab at least as one consolation prize. Busio and DoubleLift having the bigger push meant that Spica cannot tango with Closer further, but Closer's now going to look for a gank.
Yeah, and it got them in the exhaust out, so pretty big stuff there, 400 Thieves. Closer off the bot lane priority, gets the Scuttle Crab, as you said, and then as DoubleLift jumped in, Exhaust was used by FlyQuest, so Closer goes for the re-invade on red, and since he's got Smite advantage, it's not even a Smite fight, and Spica loses it.
Nice push there by 100 Thieves, like you said, winning the bot side trade, getting Closer back in the game a little bit, and during that time, of course, Someday has been isolated up in the top side. Hold on here.
Okay, DoubleLift still has Flash to play with, a lot of damage onto Prince, and firing on back, Prince is forced to flash away. Prince does make it out alive, but that's both of his summoner spells down, and Vulcan is just looking for his best friend once again.
Nice trade there again out of 100 Thieves bot lane. DoubleLift and Busio up to the task of Prince and Vulcan. People were expecting to be one of the best bot lanes, but early on, getting a CS lead and getting huge summoner advantage. All 4 forced out of FlyQuest early on, and still all flashes available for 100 Thieves.
Damn, Closer is all up in Spica's jungle. I thought he would stop at some point, but he has been relentless with these invades.
If you get your Raptor stolen early on, you are pissed, okay? That is not something you forgive. That is Cardinal Sin for junglers. And Closer plus Someday here. Someday comes in, he's gonna let him have it.
It's just like that. The Crocodile for Someday slices up the tree, and Spica's down for first blood.
No flash necessary there. He wanted to finish off Grump, wanted to get it there, and Someday slips right in. That is such a big advantage for him too. That kill for Someday, he even can teleport back in time for most of the minion wave. Spica, oh, this tree is really losing out.
Not only is it a massive, push out of the jungle, and Closer continues to get further and further ahead, but if I'm Impact, I'm like, what the hell, dude? You just fed my top laner, who is going to be the aggressor in this matchup in a lot of ways, another kill to accelerate him closer to his mythic item. So Someday is feeling very, very good, immediately showing how important of a pickup he is for 100 Thieves this offseason.
Yeah, most tank matchups for Renekton are fine if you don't influence the matchup whatsoever. You just trade farm, and then you get to the point where Renekton can no longer solo you. If Renekton gets ahead, then it's a bigger problem for Impact's laning phase. Now Vicla might be a point of contention where FlyQuest can still look to focus in on for early power, since Prince is down both summoner spells and it requires Spica to be on the bottom side of the map. The 1v1 Nukeduck.
Oh,
the coach! Is he gonna go down? Oh, he's still alive! He's out of there.
Not enough damage with the minions or Scorch to finish him off. Nukeduck barely staying alive.
Nice calculations, Duck.
He knew. He knew the whole time.
Big coach calculations here in the LCS. No problem for him. Someday going to make another wraparound here with his advantage, bringing it back to lane. Meanwhile, bottom side, I want to revisit because we had so many summoner spells blown by FlyQuest. DoubleLift and Busio have been one of the big stories for 100 Thieves since they joined the team together, and they, DoubleLift specifically wanted to play with Busio, and they've been building on their synergy for the entire duration here. They've quietly been doing a lot of work on bottom side, and we'll see if they can actually capitalize. It has drawn so much of Spica's time. He was already hovering on the top brush in River for a long time. Now he's hovering in the alcove still, and he hasn't gotten anything as of yet. DoubleLift has flash, Busio also has flash, so yeah, a lot of jungle time absorbed by DoubleLift and Busio down on the bottom side, in addition to the CS lead that they have.
Monster early game so far out of 100 Thieves after that level 1. Winning in both sides of the map, having your jungler being able to pull off a lot of invades. It's really nice to see this because last split, while they did have that kind of identity that they discovered towards the end, which was like protect the DoubleLift kind of, and Tenacity was just playing Sion and Gragas, it felt like here, this is a lot more proactive, and 2, showing that they have multiple threats that they can kind of count on right now. And it's good to see that DoubleLift hasn't really missed a beat at all. He was playing quite well towards the end of the season and continuing to play well, 12 CS up.
And Closer's going to for sure get level 6 way before Spica here, with the advantage that 100 Thieves have out of Someday killing Maokai, as well as Closer with all the counter jungling. So top side actually.
Oh, ooh, nice all angle. Out, and the angle forces Someday away. Spica's here for the collapse, but Closer can W over the wall. But Spica's just flashing forward, and now he finds that a monkey with a bonk stick is there to fight them on the back end. But Impact's got enough damage because he's still all out, and he forces Closer to flash away. Oh, we still got more action on the bottom side of the map. Prince dies to the left, and the breath of life from Busio gives him the second win, and it's just a cat. It can't do shit. 100 Thieves are on the board.
Oh my goodness, 100 Thieves bringing it home. Despite the Ksante things going on the top side and some flashes being blown, now Impact is under attack again.
Man, looked like such a good trade initially for FlyQuest on the top side. The fact that they were able to kind of bait them in. Impact forces multiple flashes out on the top side, but then the entire time in the bot lane, they were continuing to be aggressive. FlyQuest looks like they're constantly looking for these trades, but 100 Thieves side is just playing it better, and then the level up that came in.
Yeah,
getting the ult for Busio.
I still want to see the replay on that bottom lane skirmish, because that was really nice from the 100 Thieves side. It is going to be a startup on the Rift Herald here, but Impact is under tower. He has no ultimate for this. Meanwhile, you've got Yuumi on Vicla. Mid lane going to be able to be the extra support that they need to secure this Rift Herald. And they do have plenty of time to get that Rift Herald charged up. So this actually does a lot for keeping FlyQuest competitive in this game. Spica going to be able to pick that up. He really does need it. They need that Maokai level 6. He's got to catch up a little bit here to Closer.
Here's that fight in the bot side that you were looking for. Both teams level 5, and I think it's the initial kill they get that will give Busio 6. You can see why FlyQuest go for it. They think they get him so low. Summoners are back up though, able to pop the initial heal. The campfire going down as well. Doing a good job getting Busio healed up again. And then doesn't look like there's anything else for Vulcan. The fact that they get that kill, get 6. Yep.
Wow. All calculated from the bot lane of 100 Thieves. Honestly, kind of Giga Chad for DoubleLift to just step up and then full tank all the damage from Prince and Vulcan to keep Busio alive. Absolute faith in this young support. If they get out of that first kill alive, that they can turn around the entire fight.
Yeah, and like I was saying before, that was not like the only big play that this bottom lane has made for 100 Thieves. They've been creating pressure, getting summoner spell advantages, soaking jungle time the whole game. And that was just kind of the culmination of it there that actually came out in 2 pretty close and big kills for them.
It's also really impactful too because it accelerates DoubleLift with the double kill to his first item, grabbing the Kraken Slayer. Very common to see on a lot of marksmen, especially when there's a big front line, which you're expecting Spica and Impact to become. But it also means that you might be so down in pressure for FlyQuest that you can't drop the Herald around the Aphelios because you'll never get shove again from here. And that is obviously where you want to funnel the gold. In terms of late game carries, in terms of the star player for FlyQuest, it's Prince. But now they're probably going to be shoved in for the rest of the early game. And Spica will have to find somewhere else that he wants to use this if it doesn't come on the back of a play where they're actually able to get some kills.
Well, FlyQuest at this point are hoping for a little bit of life from Vicla because he is the only focal point that you can start building comeback pressure from. Because Prince, while being down a full item to double his Kraken Slayer completion, it is hard for you to match that power early on, which is why 100 Thieves get this pressure to take this dragon for free.
Go ahead, grab first dragon of the game. Mountain Dragon it is. We'll see what they end up going for. And I gotta say, we talked about, I'm gonna get caster curse this as fast as possible.
Nice.
Perfect game on the board right now for 100 Thieves.
Well, someday, for Mark's sake, don't die.
Well, there's 3 people coming and a Ksante in your face.
No flash. The ultimate from Maokai locks him up. They root him down. No way he survives this ride. No way he survives this! Someday is able to live through all the damage, all the CC, and FlyQuest are sent packing home.
Oh, he's not done either. Some daddy's going for more. Vicla.
Oh God, the big crocodile is out on the loose, and it's another 2v2 isolated double kill. Mark, you might be on to something here, man. A perfect game is looming in the shadows for 100 Thieves.
100 Thieves popping up all over the map. Closer making that play on the weak side for FlyQuest because they saw Spica show. They knew that they could make that dive happen, getting the double kill, 7-0 in kills now.
Now, not hitting that shock blast on the Maokai ulted Renekton is actually the damage that makes this whole thing go in the pooper for them. You need that. Without that, they don't have enough damage to finish them off before Gore Drinker, before the Conqueror, before the Q here from Renekton. He healed so much. We saw the top side though. Here's the bottom side. DoubleLift dashed past the ultimate there. More aggressive than Prince was thinking.
The extra range from the cozy campfire, giving him that extra bit of just range to reach Prince.
Yeah, so FlyQuest in big trouble now. Still have the Rift Herald to use to funnel a little bit of gold into Vicla, but 4,000 gold behind 13 minutes into the game, excuse me. Does feel like they are slipping out of touching distance because they do have, you can argue the scaling advantage, but we've seen that hasn't really mattered so far in the first day of the LCS. Once teams fall behind, it continues to get worse and worse. We'll have to see where they can try and make some plays happen, but there's just not many pressure points on the map.
Man, DoubleLift is playing with so much confidence. 4-0 Lucian here, 500 gold bounty, knocking at the front door of FlyQuest, and nobody's answering. He's getting more turret plate money.
Yeah, one of the things that Kane was talking about when he first came back to the squad, he was surprised and also just excited that DoubleLift was still just as passionate about grinding the game at a high level. And coming back from being on a team for Team Liquid back-to-back title championship runs, and DoubleLift is still playing at such an accelerated level, which is one of the reasons why Kane was excited to still be on this or come back to this roster, but also like, hey, if DoubleLift is working his ass off, I want to work my ass off.
It's definitely an underappreciated part of the 100 Thieves story is how all the changes are going to influence them, behind the scenes. Coach Kane coming in after they had a coach swap in the middle of the last split, a little bit more stability, familiarity, like you're saying, the fact that they had worked together before. Also, Someday being a returning voice. I think it was Closer in one of the interviews talking about how he missed some of the shot calling that Someday was able to provide. Yeah. So a lot more stability, it feels like, and players who had used to play with people they liked before coming back together.
Yeah. I mean, Someday even offering a lot of good insight in post-match feedback as well in review. So 100 Thieves, I mean, this is a great start for the summer split.
Yeah, I like how, the big thing about the Hall of Fame and about him moving on, and like you go through all that effort for the breakup, and then it's actually only like a 5-month little break.
You're one of those cycles where you're like, you know what, I think we actually both should try it again. Like that was actually pretty good now that we've been apart.
They just needed to see other people, like try something new.
If you love something, you let it go and it'll come back.
That's why it's important to have a good breakup and not burn bridges.
Always leave on good terms, y'all. Life lesson here in the LCS. It's not just about video games. As 100 Thieves are now getting ready for the second Rift Herald of the game. And it looks like they should have complete control. Massive gold advantage, 4,000 to their name, and almost everyone is in position to defend.
Yeah, I feel if they want to contest it, you know, you do have Aphelios and Yuumi hovering around, but not much you can really do about it.
No teleport on Ksante either. I feel like now is not the time to risk it all. 4,000 gold lead, and Rift Herald getting pushed in seems like farm a little bit for late here for FlyQuest. Calm it down. Dragons actually won't be too quick this game either, so at least they have that.
Yeah, objective bounties are on, so I can kind of see Spica hovering around, seeing if they get really sloppy with the take. Maybe you can somehow sneak that away. Not the case, though. 100 Thieves doing a good job. Getting control, grabbing turret as well on the bot side of the map, just from Someday's pressure. And like you said, you had DoubleLift already working down the mid lane. They're dropping that quick.
Speaking of sneaking around, the top lane, they just had Jayce and Maokai moving up through the brushes to sneak around. See if they can get behind. Oh, they go a little bit early.
Uh-oh.
Nukeduck has arrived. He won't be surprised, but they are eyeballing that low health turret for the objective bounty.
And Nukeduck is just playing outside of W flash range as well.
He's too smart. He's a coach.
Yeah.
He knows he's on the weak side. He's not going to step forward and contest there. Nukeduck wasting the time of Spica, never actually stepping too far forward. He still had flash ult available.
Hashtag big LCS coach play.
Big brain right there. It would have been a very difficult play to make work anyways with flash and ult available. You know, Ahri is notoriously slippery. And during that time, 100 Thieves just continue to rack up neutral objectives, working down the second dragon of the game.
Yeah, I mean, you want the objective bounty. You also want to not get perfect gamed. So that'd be nice.
You can start doing some disingenuous stuff to like, oh look, we didn't get perfect game. We sent 5 top at 20 minutes into the game to.
Realistically, that top tower and that objective bounty on it, that's the juice.
Someday gets the red buff. Nothing is going FlyQuest's way.
Damn. This is really tough for FlyQuest. I mean, we talked about it before at the start of the game state. For Prince, he is going to be the guy that has to rip through all of 100 Thieves. But he's behind the curve. 2 items have been completed for DoubleLift while Prince is still working on that second one. And his front line is not really a front line yet. They're only on 1 item apiece, and Demonic Embrace is not going to be the tankiest item for Maokai to set up.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of difficulties here for FlyQuest, and so they kind of have to play those brush camp little pockets of fog of war plays, try and surprise somebody. Problem is, and one of the most annoying things about Milio, yeah, we've seen the prowess so far, you know, with the range and the burst damage he's giving to DoubleLift, all his speed for chase downs and the shields, but walking around with the champion that can cleanse everybody behind you too is like, okay, now it's even harder to make our surprise pick plays. We have to constantly track this Milio, and it's really, really difficult to make plays onto this champion with the knockback, with the ultimates.
Yeah, he's a champion that it still feels like there's a lot to be explored about with synergies as well. You heard at the top of the day, Blabber kind of talking about the Kindred synergies with it in terms of being able at the end of it to cleanse everyone as the Kindred ult drops down, drop the extra healing, and make sure that you're ready to completely reset that team fight.
Yeah.
He's a really interesting champion with a lot of these like unique little mechanics that more and more people will unlock these synergies. Lucian being one of the first ones found with the extra range advantage for these double taps and these kinds of things that make your trading patterns so much more potent.
Yeah. And it's like, Lucian has always been a strong champion, even with a 500 range. But, the fact that Milio gives you, I think, an extra 20% at rank 5? I mean, and then it allows Lucian to step up in a lot of matchups and team fights that he normally would not be able to exist in. So for 100 Thieves, they are all set up for success. And for FlyQuest, I mean, the only other person I can look at that maybe you can find an advantage through is Vicla, because he's building a lot of lethality. He's got the Moramana stacking.
Oh, they're teleport play.
It's not completed yet. Oh no, Vicla doesn't. I mean, he knows Closer and Nukeduck are right there, but he's forced to flash away. Dodges out in the Everfrost, but Closer with the Flash Cyclone sends him back to the fountain. I have to ask, was that blue buff worth it?
Well, probably not, especially with Baron coming up. I mean, 100 Thieves are actually far enough ahead that if you get a pick right before 20 minutes, you might be able to get more. Currently, it's dark. They might look for the start on Baron and then turn if FlyQuest come over, or even try and burn it. Some days even going for the preemptive 1v1 on bottom side while DoubleLift is pushing towards mid.
The one saving grace for the side of FlyQuest is it was both ultimates committed by the mid-jungle combo, and that is a large portion of their turn should they try and start this. They might still do it just because they feel strong enough that, like, hey, there's no way FlyQuest can fight. You know, we're at the point as casters we were like, well, the scaling for FlyQuest, and that's about all you can say for their team comp because it is very much in 100 Thieves' hands right now what happens in this game.
Yep. 100 Thieves just looking for the mid-prio push, but FlyQuest have it first. They look for the engage onto Spica, and he forces to throw out the Nature's Wrath. And because they're not in immediate danger, Busio doesn't even need to use Breath of Life to cleanse the root that was coming out. FlyQuest now lose a huge disengage tool after the skirmish.
Yeah, no Maokai ultimate means we are not going to make our stand. We are not going to make our one team fight to try and come back into this. And if he loses his flash here too?
Oh no.
Ult coming up for Nukeduck.
Cyclone almost available as well for Closer. The charm connects. He's charmed up. Orbit Deception forced to Twisted Advance, but the Breath of Life keeps Closer alive and doesn't go down from the burst.
And pretty good stuff here for Spica. He's able to get out without blowing that flash. Without that too, they really would not have hopes in the attempted comeback team fight that they go out with. So honestly, out of that situation, pretty good escape for them.
All right, here's the copium angle for FlyQuest fans. You're able to survive that little gambit there, where if he dropped or even maybe lost his flash, they can go back onto the Baron. There's a couple ultimates down. DoubleLift doesn't have his. Busio down.
Yeah. You're
going to buy some stalling time. Dragon's coming up. You're probably not going to contest the third dragon. You're going to wait for Soul Point, and then it's about surviving through the Baron pressure. Up 7K. Honestly, 100 Thieves can easily just repeat trying to get FlyQuest to face check around Baron. But if you can stall that out, get your second item on Prince, then you start going for the Soul Point fight. You know, realistically, that's like 6 minutes from now. And if you can survive all that, you have a chance, Kobe. Did I sell you? Did I sell you? You ready to buy that?
Love it. I am not buying that.
I counted like 6 steps in that whole...
It's like a parlay bet, you know? You just keep slapping on another conditional
you
on
could be
there.
like, oh man, and they have so much CC for their team fight, but
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
well,
they got front line.
The Dragon is here. Yeah, and then 100 Thieves have Milio, and then that cleanses all of it. Dragon gonna get burned down, though. You don't want to lose the game over that for FlyQuest. If you're gonna lose a game over something, lose it over Baron or your Nexus.
I think a Cannon Creep's a good thing to lose a game over. I've lost a lot of games over Cannon Creeps, felt pretty good.
You and me both. Closer is in the deep part of the fight, but he cyclones his way out. Nukeduck is caught up, but he still has got a Spirit Rush and a flash away. TP from Impact cuts off the rest of 100 Thieves. And to their credit for FlyQuest, they got a lot of damage down on both the mid laner and the jungler.
They did get a bunch of damage. As you said, though, rightly so, the teleport is a pretty big investment because now someday you see the Crocodile pushing in the bottom side. You get that bottom side push, and then all of a sudden, you're the ones who can cross map there. You're the ones who can put even more pressure towards Baron with the threat of someday teleporting up. And he technically, right as of now, has the 2-level lead. Impacts will be able to at least cut that down to 1 pretty shortly here, but is going to sting for quite a while.
It does suck that teleport did not work out, but I appreciate what FlyQuest was looking for there. They haven't had many good angles, and that was one where you had gotten Closer's ultimate out, you were kind of on top of the Ahri, winning the fight thus far. If the teleport comes through a little bit faster, or 100 Thieves got locked down a little bit more, then maybe you can find a killer turret, you grab a mid turret. And so I appreciate when you're this far behind and you see your first good look, like actually commit to it, you know, could Impact have been a little bit faster? Maybe they could have comboed CC a little bit better. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I would rather see that than continue to just sit in a side lane versus Renekton, because you're still losing that situation too.
I mean, if you're FlyQuest, if you just get slowly bled to death or you die quick, the end result is still the same. But you at least have a little bit more control in deciding the fate if you're the ones deciding those terms, right? So if FlyQuest find an opportunity, your risk tolerance is much higher. You have to go for something. You cannot just let 100 Thieves strangle you out of the game. We got another fight here. Oh my god, Prince is just deleted. Well, that's the main part of the damage. Vulcan is also gone, and 100 Thieves are just running around and taking out every single member of FlyQuest in their warpath. Spica's got nowhere else to run. Triple kill for DoubleLift, and the Baron is there going to be their prize.
FlyQuest get a little bit too greedy around the mid lane, stepping up, trying to get some damage down that turret, and 100 Thieves collapse, annihilate 4 members of FlyQuest, and set themselves up for a very easy Baron take on the tail end of that.
Yeah, DoubleLift is 3 core items to Prince's 2. He is massive. That is now 7 kills for DoubleLift, 1 more for Legendary. That culling damage, he just runs him right off the tower. 100 Thieves. That's going to be all they need to wrap this one up. Just look at it. It was all him. Closer's able to jump in at towards the end and chase down the extra kills, but this game has been so much about the 100 Thieves bottom lane massive showing from them, as well as Someday in the top side. And now being able to leverage that into Baron makes the pushing towards the other side of the map a lot easier. They get the reset on 3 champions here. DoubleLift wanted to get one more wave, it looks like. Wonder if there's a breakpoint that he's trying to hit. All right, does get the shard, plus the Zeo picked up. Oh, he goes stop, he sells it, goes, or refunds it, goes back for the stopwatch.
I like that. Oh no, Someday, the perfect game for 100 Thieves. It could be gone. No, wait, is he out damaged? He hit out damage at all! This crocodile is huge! And you can't take him down if you don't have the equipment necessary. Somebody's still gonna live! Welcome back, Someday, to your home! 100 Thieves welcomes you graciously with open arms, and now they will look to take more damage off of these turrets and into the base of FlyQuest.
The Hall of Famer for 100 Thieves survives the 3v1 until the backup could arrive, finding the kills on FlyQuest and setting up the continued perfect game here for 100 Thieves.
Unfortunately, Mark, I just got word it is no longer a perfect game because FlyQuest got the first Herald of the game.
Oh,
but it's still a pretty damn good game from 100 Thieves.
I've been saying it this whole time. I forgot about the Herald.
We've both been griefing. It's okay. 100 Thieves definitely aren't. They're playing magnificently in the open of the summer split as they look once more for closer. He's got the decoy, the breath of life. He has the movement speed for the cozy campfire, and Busio's going to escort him to safety. They outrun the Nature's Wrath, and one inhibitor falls for FlyQuest.
So Someday's going to finish up the topside towers too. They may leave the FlyQuest base for now, but they leave it broken. They leave the remnants of it. Not much for FlyQuest to work around here. 100 Thieves, they take from them everything, and it starts with attempted 2v1 on Someday. You see this? I'm not super scared because he's got the Gore Drinker, he has the Q charged up, he has the Conqueror, he initially fights out. This is where it gets crazy. With the teleport in, he flashes right onto Jayce. They get the kill. That was like single digits HP. Gets just out of the range of the Yuumi ultimate waves coming through and lives there, plus getting the kill on the teleporting in Vicla. Objective bounty!
It doesn't matter. We were already wrong about the perfect game. Oh, God. Someday, hell of a first game back with 100 Thieves, putting a stamp on this one. And against FlyQuest, you know, a lot of people's number 2, number 3 team in the power rankings. Not many people had 100 Thieves above them. And so this is a huge statement game to say we are one of the threats now in the league that everyone has to keep an eye out for. And this is, again, without Quid. You know, Nukeduck has been incredible so far. 1-0-4, holding his own in the mid lane, following up on plays with closer. Very impressive stuff out of this squad.
Mark, what does that say about our power rankings for 100 Thieves that we did at the beginning of the split?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You two a little sussy here.
We may have undershot how good 100 Thieves were going to be.
You go for the traditional sports like, oh, well, they wouldn't have been so good if I didn't doubt them. I gave them the bulletin board material.
True!
Yeah.
That's also my coat. Okay, we're back in it. 100 Thieves, Ocean Soul on deck. They're making the slow push in. FlyQuest, they're on their last legs here. 100 Thieves are just doing the eventual slow stranglehold on the FlyQuest base, and all 3 inhibitors are gone. That means double super minions will be pouring in through every single lane, and FlyQuest, all they can do is just watch and pray.
No way to force 100 Thieves out of the base with that Ocean Soul, healing up any of the poke that they do land from the Yuumi, from the Jayce. Basically comes back through natural regen, as well as anything that Milio wants to throw out. Feels like there's no way to get 100 Thieves out of the base with triple inhibs down.
Yeah, and 100 Thieves don't have to do anything. DoubleLift's having fun here, spamming, because all you have to do, wait for your 100 minions to flood in and support you in your siege. Here they come. The supers are starting to arrive.
DoubleLift opens up with the culling, gets chunks down onto Spica. 3/4 of his HP is gone. Nukeduck looking for the Everfrost, doesn't find the root, but Prince is still keeping himself alive. He's got white and red guns on deck. If there's a chance, it would be now, but DoubleLift preemptively flashing what Impact was looking for on that third Tofu strike. Nukeduck charming up Vicla, a lot of damage down. Spica's healed back up to full HP, but 100 Thieves are just taking this time slowly, playing off the super minion waves as they look to continuously chip down the Nexus turrets. They've got nowhere else to be other than ending this game, and if it takes them a while, they will do it eventually. But for 100 Thieves, they've got all the control in the world, they've got the minion waves, and here comes the crash.
FlyQuest trying desperately to hold on as the double super creep start pounding away at the turret.
A flash on a DoubleLift when he goes golden. That stopwatch paying huge dividends as he dashes back, and now he's in safety range. Guns down Spica, looks for impact. He's forced to run. Vicla and Prince step up to look to do damage. The kill force, but it's not enough to cleanse the flash. Some daddy's here, baby, and he slices them all down. The Nexus turrets fall, and 100 Thieves, just like EG, will walk away with a deathless game to start the summer split.
Monstrous performance out of 100 Thieves, destroying FlyQuest.
17-0.